Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to Prof. Shanawi. My name is Risha Nisa binti Muhammad Azan, ID number 2024479084. So for the topic industrial relation, I chose Krishnan anak lelaki Subramaniam versus Tenaga Nasional Berhad TNB. Today, I will present a case review on Krishnan anak lelaki Subramaniam versus Tenaga Nasional Berhad. This case involves employee misconduct, disciplinary action, and unfair dismissal under Malaysian Industrial Relations Law. It is an important case because it highlights the responsibility of employees, the right of employers, and the importance of following proper disciplinary procedures before terminating an employee. The case involves Krishnan anak lelaki Subramaniam, who was an employee of Tenaga Nasional Berhad (TNB). During his employment, TNB alleged that he had committed misconduct while performing his duties. According to the company, he had received money directly from customers without proper authorization, which was against the company's rule and procedure. TNB viewed this action as a serious breach of trust because employees are expected to follow company policies, especially when handling customer payment or company resources. The company believed that the employees' action could affect its integrity and public confidence. After receiving the allegation, TNB carried out an internal investigation to examine the incident. So during the investigation, the company collected evidence and gave the employee an opportunity to explain his action before making a disciplinary decision. After considering the evidence, the MB concluded that the misconduct had been proven and decided to dismiss the employee from his employment. However, the employee believed that the dismissal was unfair, and he argued that the company decision was not justified and therefore brought the matter before the Industrial Court of Malaysia. The court then had to decide whether TNB had the cause and excuse to dismiss the employee and whether the company had followed the proper disciplinary procedures before taking an action. The case began on 5 June 2018 when Tenaga Nasional Berhad (TNB) dismissed Krishnan anak lelaki Subramaniam for alleged misconduct. TNB claimed that he had received unauthorized cash payment from customers, which was against the company's rules and procedures. After being dismissed, Mr. Krishnan believed that the company's decision was unfair. Therefore, on 25 September 2018, he filed an unfair dismissal claim and the case was referred to the Industrial Court of Malaysia, Johor branch under Section 20 of the Industrial Relations Act 1967. Between 7 May and 24 September 2019, the Industrial Court heard the case. During the hearing, both the employee and TNB presented witness and documentary evidence. The court carefully examined whether the employee had actually committed misconduct and whether TNB had followed the proper disciplinary procedures before dismissing him. The court found that the company had proved the misconduct of the balance of probabilities and had just cause and excuse to dismiss the employee. Based on this timeline, there were 4 main legal issues considered by the court. The first one, did the employee commit misconduct? Second, did TNB had a valid reason or just cause and excuse to dismiss him? Third, did TNB follow the proper disciplinary procedures before dismissing the employee? And the fourth, was the dismissal fair under the Industrial Relations Act 1967? Judgment of the case. The court found that the employee had committed misconduct. Based on the evidence presented, the court was satisfied that the TNB had provided enough proof to support its allegation against the employee. The court believed that the misconduct was serious because it involves a breach of the company's rule and the trust placed in the employee. The court also considered whether the MB had followed the correct disciplinary procedures before dismissing the employee. After reviewing the process, the court found that the MB had conducted a proper internal investigation and had given the employee an opportunity to explain his action before making the final decision. This shows that the company acted fairly and followed the required procedures. Another important point was that the court decided the MB had just cause and excuse to dismiss the employee. In employment law, this means that the employer had a valid and reasonable reason for terminating the employee's employment. Therefore, the industrial court ruled in favor of Tenaga Nasional Berhad. The employee's claim for unfair dismissal was rejected, and the court confirmed that the dismissal was lawful, fair and justified. Overall, this judgment shows that the employees have the right to dismiss an employee if serious misconduct is proven, as long as they follow the proper disciplinary procedures and ensure that the employee is treated fairly throughout the investigation and follow the required procedures. Analyze and critique. In my opinion, the court made the right decision because the MB had sufficient evidence to prove that the employee had committed the misconduct. The court carefully considered the evidence before making its judgment, and it found that the employee had violated the company's rule and policy. Therefore, I think the decision was fair and reasonable. This case also highlights the importance of honesty and integrity in the workplace. Employees who deal with customer payments of company property are expected to follow company procedures at all the times. If they fail to do so, it can affect the company's reputation and reduce the trust that customers have in the organization. Trust is very important in the relationship between an employer and an employee. Another important point is that the judgment confirms that employers have the right to take the disciplinary action, including dismissals when serious misconduct has been proven. However, this right must be exercised fairly. In this case, the MB conducted an internal investigation and gave the employee an opportunity to explain his action before making the decision. Before dismissing. This shows that the company followed the proper disciplinary procedures and towards the employee. Other than that, I also have some critiques about this case. Although dismissal was considered justified, it is the most severe disciplinary action that an employer can take. Employers should only use dismissal when the misconduct is serious enough to damage the employment relationship. For less serious cases, employers may consider any disciplinary action, such as warning, suspension, or counseling, depending on the circumstance. In addition, every disciplinary investigation should be conducted in a fair, transparent, and unbiased manner. Employees should always be given enough time and opportunity to explain their side of the story and present any evidence before a final decision is made. This helps ensure that justice is served on both the employer and the employee. Overall, this case teaches an important lesson to both employers and the employees. Employees must always act honestly, follow the company policies, and carry out their responsibility with the integrity. At the same time, employers should ensure that disciplinary actions are based on the strong evidence and the proper procedures are followed. By doing so, the organization can maintain a professional, ethical, and a trustworthy workplace. That's all from me. Thank you. That's all for me. Thank you.